A little this. We're celebrating the new album with Mark Farner, the one and only. Wow, we're talking about the 55th anniversary of I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home, what it meant to the veterans, the Vietnam War, Desert Storm, you name it. Ever since, Mark, the veterans appreciate you. You're in their DNA, the soundtrack to their lives, and every time they hug their children and their wives and grandparents, everybody, it's in their hearts. Now talk about this new album. Obviously, you name it Closer to My Home. That cover picture there with that beautiful vinyl, the red vinyl. You can go get it. Look at that beautiful Heartland of America with the barn, the stars and stripes, Closer
Yeah.
to My Home in red, white, and blue. Mark, besides the remake, and of course, hats off to Mark Slaughter for doing such a great job in producing this. But we have songs like Anymore, Facade, Friends Forever, Oh Darling, Real, Same Game, Surveilling US or Us, and The Prisoner and
Yeah.
Tiny Fingers. Talk about the rest of the songs on here, and if there's any special stories or meaning behind them that make up this very special new album.
Well, I want to start with Anymore, because that song, I had it nearly finished when I got to the studio in Tennessee, and we are recording it, and I got the tracks laid down. uh Slaughter had played bass, because he played bass on a lot of this stuff.
Okay.
And he did some of the drum licks with a machine. But we had, on this song, we had uh, a drummer, Jason D'Amelio from California,
Great.
and he played the shit out of this tune, and we kept up with it. When you got a drummer that's really getting it and driving it, then it can work. And this what happened with this song. The song is actually, it turned into a song of forgiveness, a representation of forgiveness, because it talks in the second verse. Well, first of all, it starts off, when I was young, I listened to the words of men, but that was then, and I won't listen to them anymore. They told me things I should believe, but all it did was make me grieve. So I won't listen to them anymore. And it goes into the chorus. And the second part is, in the beginning, it was me and my band. It's sad to say that we don't play together anymore. It's not the quantity, it's the honesty, my friend. The story ends, and I'm not angry with them anymore. So it's like letting it go. It's that, it's too bad, because, for the fans, for the real fans, hardcore fans that knew that Grand Funk, they were educated to know that it was three guys, and they were, especially people from Flint, Michigan, and Michigan in general. They were very proud of us, the three of us. And I did write 92% of the music, but when the band broke up and they went out without me, then people were kind of, they were like, well, is it ever going to get back together? And I said, well, it would if I had anything to do with it. But then I kept hearing stories that Don Brewer would say, well, never say never. But he said that for 20 years, never say never. And then finally he said, never. He finally said never. But I know, because I'm a music fan, and I was a fan of the Beatles, and I wanted to see those guys. I just wanted to see them live. I saw them, on Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
That was not a very good representation. I wanted to see them with their instruments playing, and the sound coming out of a PA, their voices, their real voices coming across. I wanted because I'm a fan. I wanted to experience that. So for the fans that want Don and Mel and I to get back together, I know what it's like wanting to. I'm thinking, back then I'd say, why don't they just bury the hatchet, man, and do it for the fans? Forget about whatever it is that's keeping them separate. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, everybody's still alive, it's you can have separate dressing rooms, separate hotels,
yep,
whatever, but on stage,
yep,
before somebody passes, people would love to see that original band, like the
yeah,
Beatles before John Lennon passed. Once John passed, we knew it was
yep,
impossible.
yep. It was over. Well, God rest his soul, and I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope that someday that the fans will be able to see their band on stage, and not just a tribute to who we were, but the real deal. Because there's only three people in the world that can make that noise. I don't care who they put in there for guitar, who they put in there for vocal, whoever else. It's not going to be the sound of the original Grand Funk without
Yeah.
the original players. Period.
Yeah. Well, like we talked earlier about Humble Pie. I mean, Steve Marriott was such a force, and that band was so formidable. But once Stevie passed, you knew it was never going to be the same.
Yep.
A tough guy to replace, but
Oh,
it's an amazing legacy, and you've got such great songs on here. Over what period of time? Because I know Mark Slaughter's touring with his band, and of course, you guys go out and do dates.
yep.
How over what period of time did it take you to put together this album, Closer to My Home?
It took us 2 years, brother, because
Oh,
because of just what you just mentioned, Jay. He'd go out for 2 weeks and come back, and then and I'm a touring musician. I go out for a couple of weeks and come
yeah,
back. We get together in between our show dates, but we did our best work in person. When it was face to face, we did things fast. We got things done, and if we could have had that kind of time more often, it could have sped up the process. But I think over that 2 year period, we could critique things and change things that it took us a year to discover with our ears. Oh, hey, we should do this here instead of this. So we had that advantage of the time that it took to sink in and to change a few things, and to where we're very satisfied with it. And the the prisoner is the
yeah,
second song on there that we were doing a Dick Wagner's Remember the Child charity. Dick
sure,
Wagner passed away a few years ago,
yeah,
and David Winans was playing bass at the gig, and Rick Murphy was one of the background singers, and I was playing. We were just setting up, getting ready to do a little rehearsal, and everybody's got to play a little bit and get their sound and what have you. It's a different amplifier. You got to kind of fool around with it. So I'm fooling around with it, getting a sound, and then I start playing this song. And all of a sudden, Winans is coming in with a bass, and Rick Murphy starts singing, "I'm just a prisoner in this flesh and shell." He's got like starting to sing it, and I'm thinking, hey man, this is turning into a song. And I play, and then Winans is over there. Keep on walking, keep your hands by your side. He's just like doing the background in between, and Murphy's doing the lead vocals, and this song just came together. And when we recorded it, it was Winans, Johnny B on drums.
uh,
I mean, and Johnny B lays a groove that is long, wide, and continuous. That boy goes deep. He it, he hits some fat, brother. He hits some fat, and he settled down in on this song, and we cut it. And Marshall Block he was the guy. It was his studio, the Ponderosa, that was up there by Heartland, Michigan,
Okay.
and it was out in the sticks. You know, it was kind of a nice little place there. And he brought horns in, and they put horns on. And I was like, if because he asked me, do you mind if we put some horns on? I said, I don't mind. Just um, emulate what the keyboard player was putting on there, because that keyboard player had some great horn chops in there. So that's what they did, and they expounded on it. It was a great session. And when I heard the horns, it was, after the fact, but I thought it was like, oh my God, I love those horns on there. And Detroit boys, they did a dang good job. So The Prisoner Lives. And Same Game is a song it tells a story about mainstream. When Clinton was faking to be, I mean, when he was the president in 96, deregulated the FCC. And I told people, my booking agency back then, Bobby Roberts out of Nashville, I said, Bobby, this is going to kill us. This is going to kill the industry. They're going to monopolize, because prior to that deregulation, you could own 7 AM, 7 FM, 7 television stations, and it was in the hands of families,
Yeah.
U.S. families, patriots. Yeah, everyone was a patriot. Moms and dads, grandpas and grandpas, moral conscience over what our children were seeing and hearing, and that's gone. That
Yeah,
moral,
it was local. It was a community voice. It
yeah,
was,
yeah, brother.
it was like local newspapers, local radio. It was, yeah, it was very special. And, kids today will never know what that was like,
No,
or these big corporate giants roll up all the stations and all the, anything they can
yeah,
for the
and
greed.
Soros just bought 200 radio stations, and the FCC fast tracked it. I wonder how stinking greasy. Oh, it's so obvious what is going on, because Soros hates this country. And the people that were throwing bricks through windows and stuff were talking about how George Soros paid them to protest and be in that BLM stuff. And that's part of, we just now uh, fast tracked, given a guy, a criminal like this that hates the U.S., 200 of our radio stations in 40 markets. It's crazy. It is crazy, because the BS that's going to come across there. And unfortunately, people are going to buy into it, because people are people. But
Well, yeah, it
same,
was a simpler time, FM, when FM radio came about after AM was so dominant in the 60s,
yeah,
it was freeform. Literally, the DJs had, in most cases, the, power to put on what they wanted to play. They'd get a new album, maybe they'd play the single, or maybe they'd go to a deep cut right away. They would kind of, tell you what they loved
yeah,
in this music.
yeah,
And
they,
it created an era that will never be again, but
yeah, man.
created so much great music in the 70s.
I am just, it's nice to hear somebody that knows, Jay, and
Yeah.
I echo your concerns about this, and also the great era, the decades that we had with that kind of influence up until Clinton deregulated it. And Same Game on this album depicts uh, lie, lie, lie to the people. The same thing happens every day. Mainstream voices are evil. I don't know why they try, because all they do is lie, and it's the same game. That's what the lyrics are saying. And it goes on to expound on that. Um, but After Same Game, Facade, my son Joseph, that's Lisa and I's middle son,
Yes.
uh, he's in Austin, Texas. He's a chef out there. and I went to see him. Lisa and I were out there, and I was playing his acoustic guitar, and he says, "What song is that, Dad?" I said, "It's called Facade." And I played him a little bit of it, and he starts singing, "No need to fake what I do, pantomiming lies. Uh, Staying true to my heart brings out the love inside. And people come and people go. Ask me why, but I don't know. People live and people die. And all the children wonder why. Facade. It's all a big facade. It's people playing God, but it's all a big facade." Ooh, yeah. I mean, so I said,
Wow.
okay, all right, that's going in there because it fit, you know, it fit. So my son Joseph and I wrote this song, and it's the first song that we'd ever did anything together on, and I'm proud of it.
Special. Yeah. It's in the blood.
Yeah, man.
What
You know,
what an incredible family you have, and you've of course with Friends Forever, that song. I know that's paying tribute to a lifelong, just amazing life you've been able to have. We talked about the veterans' love for you and what a song like "I'm Your Captain," Closer to Home means. And I know there's so much love for you out there. We're super excited to get the word out on this new album, Closer to My Home. And I know hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to Mark Slaughter about it. I've known Mark over the years, and I know what a special moment it was for him to be involved, and all the feedback you're getting so far. And I know when you take these songs on the road with all your other great classics and solo catalog, people are in for a treat. So want to encourage everyone to go out and get the album, support it. Closer to My Home, that beautiful red vinyl, and get it early so you can get it signed by the one and only Mark
appreciate,
Farner. But
appreciate.
yeah, Mark, what a special treat always to speak to you. You mean so much to me and my growing up. Um, I was living in Lubbock, Texas before I moved to Dayton, Ohio. My father in the Air Force, we moved around. I started school in England, but I used to in Texas, I used to see those early 69, 70, 71, 72 albums of Grand Funk. And, I hadn't started going to arena shows yet, but I would look at those covers, Grand Funk Live, and just see you in all your glory and just know that, man, that is real rock and roll right there. And by the
Man,
time I got up to Ohio, then that's when I started going to the arena shows and see you. So your music's been a part of every part of my life since you started making it. And we are blessed to have you in our presence and spread the word. Go get that album. And Mark, till we speak again, brother, thank you so much for all the love you've given us, and we're giving it right back to you.
thank you so much. It's good to be back with you, Brother Jay. God bless you. God bless those who watch and listen. And God bless what's left of America.